a little bit tired after listening to all of the talk, throughout the day? Or do you feel a little bit sleepy because, like me, just arrived this morning? Maybe you want to have a dream that you can control your dream content. I'm Cosmos PoYao from Research and Game Staff. My PhD research in controlling people's dream content. So here comes my first paper, LuciEntry, towards understanding the lucid dream induction. So first of all, what is lucid dream? Lucid dream is a state where people are aware that they are dreaming. So during that moment, people can control their dream content. So for example, I'm a lucid dreamer. Usually, I would like to fly into the sky to enjoy that kind of flying movement. So there are several benefits for lucid dreaming. For example, it can use as an entertainment, like me. Also, it can be the treatment for alleviating the recurrent nightmares. It can also help people to develop motor skills. It can also help people to heal physically and mentally. However, lucid dream rarely occurs naturally. So I think that's why most of the people didn't even know that. But there are several lucid dream techniques people can practice. However, most of them demands time and effort to master. I see the potential of using dream engineering to lower down the entry barrier for lucid dreaming. So I reviewed the prior work from HCI, such as Lucid Loop, which is a simulation of lucid dream experience. There's also another work called Doser, which is a lucid dream induction, a sleep induction system, So they're trying to help you to sleep quicker. So we can notice that most of the prior work from HCI is not helping lucid dream during sleep. Therefore, I also looked on the prior work from psychology, where they use the visual and auditory stimuli to try to increase the chance of lucid dream induction. While they have to ask the participants to go to lab to sleep there, it's annoying. And also the researchers, they have to manually monitoring people's data and they're trying to trigger that cues at the right time, which is also very time consuming for the researchers. So therefore, my research question is, how can we design a lucid dream induction system? Therefore, I designed LuciEntry, which is a portable automatic lucid dream induction system. And if you want to know more about it, you can also check out our GitHub. So let's see a video.
To address this, we designed LuciEntry, another lucid dream induction system. LuciEntry senses users' brain and eye signals to identify their sleep stages. Once the appropriate sleep state is detected, LuciEntry plays light and sound cues to the user. This is a dream, which reminds the dreamer of their dream state, therefore inducing lucid dreaming. Through the study, we gained a deeper understanding of the user experience of lucid dream induction.
I think this system can detect my brain signals really well. When I fall asleep, I can hear the sound, this is a dream, and trigger my lucid dream. Then I woke up, fell asleep again, and generate a new lucid dream, which makes me feel like this is a loop.
Yeah, so just to wrap up, so what we are doing in this system, LuciEntry, is first of all, we detect people's brain signal to classify into sleep stages. Once we notice that people are in the rapid eye movement stage, where people mostly have their dreams, then we trigger the visual and auditory cue, which is the red flashing light, and the sound saying, this is the dream, to help you to be aware that you are in the dream during your sleep. Because lucid dream is still very complicated, so we also developed an app to introduce the lucid dream techniques and also how to use our system LuciEntry. So to understand the associated user experience with our LuciEntry, we conduct studies with 8 participants at the lab and 5 participants at their home. So here's the study procedure. Before they sleep, they have to get familiar with the cues we provide. And then they will try to induce lucid dreaming with our system LuciEntry for one night in the early morning, which is around 4 a.m. because that's when people usually have their REM sleep. And finally, after the study, we conduct a semi-structured interview to collect the user experience. So with the reflexive phonemic analysis, we identify 3 key themes here. Participants appreciate our system, LuciEntry, for helping them to induce lucid dreaming, while we also notice that there are some challenges around the system usability, cue perception, and also the trade-off of using the analog lucid dream induction techniques. So today I'm going to focus on the first one. We noted 4 out of 13 participants experienced the lucid dreaming, and most of them tell us they feel like the auditory cue is very important for them to induce lucid dreams. So for example, as the video shown, one of the participants experienced their lucid dream like a loop. There's also another participant dreamt about they slept on a bed where there are so many strangers looking at them outside of the window, which make them to feel scared. So once they hear the sound, this is a dream, they soon really want to escape from their dream content. And the last one is quite interesting. So the last participants dreamt about a strategy game called Victoria 3, which is a game that you have to facilitate the development of a country. So in that dream, they became the country itself. And once they hear the sound, this is a dream, they soon realize that they are still dreaming while playing the same game. So like the first question they have is, why am I still doing the same thing? After that, they start to want to explore their dream world. However, because they were the country itself, they don't really have legs, they don't even have mouth, so they cannot even walk or even talk. So they tell us that they feel like they have less control than their anticipation. So with a reflection on the user experience and our designs, we propose 7 design strategies. And today I'm going to talk about 2 of them. First of all, we noticed that the participants' umwelt influence their cue interpretation, which makes them not able to induce lucid dreaming. So the umwelt here is a German word, means the interpretation of the word is not only shaped by their biological sensory systems, but also by their past experience. For example, some of our non-native English speakers cannot really comprehend the English auditory cue during such a low level of consciousness, even though their English is quite good. We also noticed that the visual cues was incorporated into some of the non-lucid dreams were distorted. For example, the red flashing light we use become the white flashing camera light for one of our participants. Therefore, they didn't really realize that it was the cue we provide, so they cannot really induce lucid dreams. So the strategy here is we suggest to sense the user's umwelt to allow and enhance customization. With a reflection on our design, we propose a design space with 2 axes. First of all, we notice that the perception of the cue is important. It can be ranged from perceiving a very strong cue to a very weak cue. We also notice that when, unlike the level of consciousness people perceive the cues are important, they can either perceive it from wakefulness to a deep sleep. And only when people perceive the cues at the right level of consciousness with the right level of perception of cue intensity can people induce lucid dreams. However, we have to acknowledge that the current design of LuciEntry is far from perfect, so we have a broader experience. People either perceive the cues with a too strong cue, which totally wake them up, or they just perceive the cue while they're still awake. So we have to narrow down the user experience to the sweet spot of lucid dreaming. Therefore, I propose several strategies here. For example, for perception control, we can try to change the cue intensity by doing calibrations iteratively. Or we can also use other cues in different modalities, such as haptics. for the for manage their level of consciousness, we can try to use some thermosexual induction, such as the galantamine, which is the treatment for Alzheimer's disease. It sounds a little bit scary, but it has already been proven to increase the chance of lucid dream induction. While on the other hand, I also noticed that electrical stimulation is promising for lucid dream induction. So that's almost the end of my talk. Actually, all I want to do is to encourage people to pay more attention to this emerging field, lucid dreams. So here's my take-home message. Lucid dream experience can be facilitated by portable automatic systems that combine analog and digital techniques. Thanks for your listening. I'm Cosmos PoYao. If you want to know more about lucid dream induction, you can read our paper. If you want to know more about how to control your dreams in general, you can see my website or just talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you for a very interesting talk. I feel like it reminds me of the movie.
Inception?
Yes. There's like a spinning gyroscope. Yeah. So your like voice guidance induce the lucid dreaming state. Feel like that thing, like to detect whether you're in that state or not. And also, I don't know what question I want to ask. I just feel it's really
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, maybe I was curious about when do you know you should provide the cue? How do you detect that? And is there like any way to detect the different stages maybe in the sleep cycles?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I really love Inception. I mean, that's also one of the inspiration for me to do this research. Yeah, I always like to say, like if you don't know what I'm doing, just think of Inception. But like the other people just say, oh, you're going to have a backfire because, that's too much. Yeah, we're still a little bit far from there, but that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you, that's what I really want to hear. But in terms of how we detect the sleep stages and also providing the cue, so this is how we do it. So we detect their brain signals and trying to parse it into different sleep stages. So for example, it can classify you as you are still awake, you are in the light sleep, you are in the deep sleep, or you are in the REM sleep. So the rapid eye movement sleep stage, here I mentioned, is where people have most of their dreams. So like, unfortunately, even until now, we don't know when people are dreaming, but REM sleep is most of the time that people have their dreams. So we just assume, once you're into the REM sleep, you are having a dream. Then we give you the cue. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Thank you for the presentation, super cool topic. I'm curious to know about your personal connection to lucid dreaming. Why does this matter to you? And maybe like, when was the first time you experienced and what changed and how often do you do it?
Thank you. That's also a very interesting question. So for me, it was actually an accident. So I used to go to the bookstore, and one day I found a book called A Field Guide to Lucid Dreaming. So I read it, and then because I have a lot of dreams, like I almost like having dreams every day, and then I noticed that, whoa, what if I can control my dream? It would be super cool. So yeah, I started to practice the lucid dream induction techniques, which is very time consuming. I don't suggest you to do so. But like it'd be cool. So yeah, I tried it and I practiced it for several months. Finally, I got a chance to really control my dreams. And I was like, oh, it's super cool. And then I look up to so then after I become my undergrad, I started doing some research. And then I noticed that there's no too much of work in HCI really helping people to facilitate like the lucid dream experience. Then I was like, like why don't we just start to do it? Yeah, and then yeah, here I come. I tried to do some research for it. Yeah, and yeah, it's cool, but yeah, it's hard.
I have a quick question,
Yeah.
or maybe.
Mhm.
So probably one comment is probably the eternal sunshine would be another good inspiration, which much to do with this lucid dream, because in the movie there is a sense that sometimes you hear the real voice at the same time while you're dreaming, or actually memory deletion process. So that is one comment. Another thing is, I'm thinking of application domains for this. Maybe after induction, maybe you could be self-awareness, or the reflection could be one method. I mean, and also, I don't know, the scope of the research, is that to do with hypnosis? Because I mean, that could be also a very interesting area to, if you could induce hypnosis in a very similar way. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting thing. So actually, because now I'm also doing my PhD, so I'm trying to say like what I'm researching here can be also applicable to a broader term, which is altered state of consciousness, including hypnosis, including coma, drunk, like the other state, which is outside from our normal, ordinary waking state. So yeah, I do found like there are some similarities. So for example, like the auditory cue we use, like which is also like very useful for hypnosis. So I think what I'm doing like in terms of lucid dreaming might be also applicable to other altered states as well.
Okay. Let's thank our speaker.